Take one.
You're watching the Questionnaire podcast.
What can they say?
You are checking out the Questionnaire.
What's your name again?
The Questionnaire.
Would you like to have questions?
I don't got it. I'm not that guy.
Submit yourself.
Super fun and entertaining.
This is the Questionnaire.
There have been dark ages before. Yeah, but now, kind of done and finished with that. This is the Questionnaire, Season 3. Going. And that's what we're going to keep doing, man. You know, been like, the one thing I come to the realization is I need to get better on point about, like, letting everyone, as far as the co-hosts, know when shows are coming up. But, you know, I've been really bad about that, right? But we're still rolling, man. Everybody's on the crew is prepping. We got the website. You can check it out. I will have it as the Quest podcast soon, right? I don't know what the link is right now. I will put that in the description, and then you can check out all kinds of things, like the pre-show questionnaires for all kinds of things before, hopefully a little bit before the actual person even comes on, because that's what we do. We're past episode 20 somewhere in there. Oh, and I'm JUF Clark, aka the Unknown Factor, aka the Wade Wilson of hip hop, and this is the Questionnaire. So, with that in mind, you know, we've gotten uncouth over here several times, right? We love Mike, right? Coming back on here in a little while. We're going to talk some things on brand for Comic-Con, which is coming up, which you can check out. Steve McGinnis, who was just on discussing that 3 episodes, like 3 quests ago. I think that's right. I might be wrong. There's a lot going on, right? So, to keep it going, right? To keep it going forward, we're going to get a little strange because, you know, frankly, I can't help myself, right? And I do love a collection. Yeah, with Spencer Gomez in the house. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on here. Appreciate it.
Man, look, see, and you, like, hit me up. Like, we like, there's a lot going on. We've kind of slowed down the episodes. We're only dropping one a week now, trying to get out more shorts and reels and this and that. And I ain't gonna lie to you, Spencer. You went and said 2 names that, like, told you to hit me up. And I got a lot of love for those 2 names. Otherwise, you would have been coming on in like 3 months. Okay? I'm not even gonna lie to you, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you one bit, Spencer. I was like. And then, like, when we're chatting beforehand, I'm like, you know what I mean, eh? And then I'm like, I talk to way too many Canadians.
Yeah.
When I start saying A and I'm in Indiana, I need more American guests. So if you're out there, you know, not even American, I don't care, just not Canadian. How about that? I'm speaking it to you. I love you guys.
I'm in Canada. I'm actually from America. I'm actually from New York, So you got a win-win right here, right now.
Okay. And, you know, I didn't notice in all sincerity a Canadian accent. How long you been in Canada? Why'd you move there? Was it driven based on the community that's there creatively? I need to know all of these things.
No. So I moved about 2 years ago when I met my wife. We had a kid, and I decided to move. In that journey, I met tons of different people that are in the comic book community that I actually can say this with great sincerity. I have never felt in the United States is that where people are helping other people do great things. One of them was Mike. He mentioned you to me, and I was like, dude, thanks. I've had conversations with him. We've talked on the phone. We haven't gotten a chance to meet in person. He lives like 7 hours away from me. But he's been one of those people that has been like a mentor. I've reached out to Locke. We've spoke a lot. And it's been great. I no gatekeeping. There's no, I can't tell you what kind of pen I use. I can't do this. I can't do that because at the end of the day, we're all artists and we want everyone to eat. We don't want this art form to die because once the older generation is gone. There's nobody else to pick up the torch per se and be like, hey, I can do this too, or I can do this after the fact this person is gone. Whereas in the States, it kind of is it's a really cutthroat industry.
It's I see your point in so many ways, and it's very interesting that you put it like that, especially based on the PanCon that we just had, which included Mark Bagley, which you decided to watch like what is probably the roughest quest of season 3 when you went and watched it when it was just him coming. You couldn't have watched the PanCon. For real. Like, if y'all want to see a great, like, PanCon with just a bunch of great comic book creators of different generations really chatting, check out the one with Ross, Larry, Richie. I said Ross, Larry, Richie. I'm, like, slamming names together. Ross, Larry, Eric, Memphis, Mark Bagley, and Mark Alan Fishman. Yeah, I think that was 6. I hope it was. If I left somebody out, I apologize. It's a couple it's a couple quests back. It's right there for y'all to check out. But one of the things he said was discussing how the industry had changed from when he got into it. It was there were really only the 3 that you could really. It was Image, Marvel, and DC. If you really truly wanted to make a living at doing art in comics, that's what it was. And it was when you got on a book, you wanted to stay on it like as long as possible if you like the creative team, as opposed to now. I mean, you look at the big 2, they do how many 12-issue arcs, 6-issue arcs, 5-issue arcs per year. I really don't want a serious number on that. If anybody watching just wants to put it in the comments, that'd be hilarious, but I'm afraid to know how big that is. So there's not that, but it's also, there's a difference in selling commissions, selling original artwork, selling all of that. Do you think the change has made it more difficult or less difficult for you to get in? And do you think it would be different as far as where you would need to be given what era you entered?
I think that I think for me it was I finally like fit into my groove because I was doing a lot of different art. I was doing anime, I was doing graffiti, I was doing I was painting, I was sculpting, I was doing this, I was doing that, and I wasn't just like staying in one lane. I find that when people practice and practice and practice, you become a master at your own craft, as opposed to being subpar at everything. So for a long time, we had discussed this before the show. I made music. I would rap. It was pretty good, and I focused solely on that. With art being my hobby. You and I both know that that's a very cutthroat world. Very
Well,
cutthroat.
I laugh, man, because you say, when were you when you were like, you were in your 30s and you were like, this is going nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I started when I was 32.
Holy shit.
Because my brother DKB is like, dude, that's the most hip hop answer ever. I always tell it anymore. I with this woman, whatever, was like, let's go to this show because I was into Psychopathic Records. We don't want to talk about that either. Sometimes people make bad choices, okay? But Boondocks was coming to town and we went and I seen all the openers. And literally my first thought, having not really fooled around lyrically except when I was like in my early 20s, drunk with my homies a couple of times, right? Seeing all these openers, and my first thought was, I can wreck every one of these guys. Like, wreck them. That was my thought. So yeah, no, I quickly found out it was a cutthroat business because guess what? I was 32. I went and I started in a whole juggalo hip hop scene, and I read avidly and I like patterns. And guess who I made mad in a lot of cases? Yeah, I know it's cutthroat, and it's also the whole, oh, you're better than me, so I don't want to associate with you. That's very much hip hop.
And that's what happens a lot in the States.
Comic book wise?
Comic book wise, art wise, and it's a lot like that. I feel, and I think that it's just that idea of this person could replace me.
It's I guess I'm gonna keep bringing it up because you keep making it relevant. But it was Bagley that said he was quoting somebody else at a convention that had said, and I don't remember who he said had it was a bigger name. But they'd said somebody asked, "How do you get into comics?" And they said, "You don't. And if you figure out a way, we'll find that hole and plug it up." Because it is the whole fact that, look, if you think about it, only so many people can write Spider-Man or draw Superman or, write Batman, because there's not an endless supply of those. So yeah, when you get to that point, I mean, I kind of get that, but it stifles creativity. But at that point, I think it's become different in the fact that you can pull off a Walking Dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you couldn't do that in the 80s. You could maybe do it a little bit in the 90s, but it's become simpler and simpler with time. Maybe it's becoming more difficult now though because of how simple it's become to release a book.
It is, and it is really, really simple. The other thing too is that back in the 80s and the 90s, there weren't 70 different comic book variants that were coming out, and these artists weren't paying to get their covers done. They weren't buying out and essentially paying for the distribution, paying for the licensing to actually be able to draw something and getting their books. It was, you got hired for a cover, you did the cover was either good or it was ass, and if they didn't go with it, then they made you fix it. If not, then they hired somebody else. But now you've got people like Greg Capullo doing covers, but then you've also got 17 variants from Art Germ doing covers as well.
That's something I don't think I've ever really thought of, even though I've had conversations with Mike, and conversations with the guys up at Mages, which is the store I go to, and several other places, as far as what it is to get a cover and how you have to, and it's especially when you're dealing with the big two, the numbers you have to get.
Absolutely.
They become very large. Especially when you're wanting to get a property like a Batman or Spider-Man, something that you can sell because of what it is as far as the IP. Man, makes me realize even more why Mark was like saying he really respected the grind of the independents, because he was talking about being at conventions and people are just coming up to him, and because it's Mark Bagley,
Of course.
right? And then he's seeing these guys that are independents just starting out. And he was saying just how much he respected the grind and how, as far as what they had to do on a different level. Because even like Mark was saying, when he initially started, conventions weren't a thing,
See, I myself have found that the internet presence has helped significantly uh, with my success in art in general. Going to a convention and sitting there and kind of peddling your wares for 4 or 5, 6 hours, spending $400 on a table is just, to me, you're sitting there and you're almost trying to convince someone to buy something because you are who you are, as opposed to someone seeking out your art on a website or on a whatnot or on Instagram and them actually paying what you're worth. I don't know if you ever run into that as well. I know that I've had instances where I've been in Artist Alley or anything like that. We did something at Fanaticon, and I made more money on my phone on a break than I did in 4.5 hours of sitting there with art all over the table. And it kind of put things into perspective where it was like, I need to get a website. I need to have more of an internet presence because the people don't know what they want. People know what they want online. We go on Amazon and we order, say we order a light. We want a light. We want that. In conventions, it's a lot of walking around. It's a lot of, meeting the artists, everything like that. And that's great. I love connecting with people. I connected with a couple of people at the Fanaticon in Ottawa last year. Carla Perez, that's the voice of Rita Repulsa. Or not the voice, actually the Rita Repulsa. I met Allison Court. She's the Lunette from the Big Comfy Couch. She also she did the first Jubilee voice in I believe it was 92 X-Men. So it's fun going to conventions. It's fun going to the conventions and see the grind, but the reality of it is that a lot of things nowadays a lot of those things feels to me that it's dying out. It's not something that you go and you pay exorbitant amounts of money for because you're going to a convention. You go there for more or less good time.
Man, like you put so much to unpack with everything you just said. When Jesus, I don't even know where to begin, Spencer. Like in all, like from. Oh, hey, let's start there because that was my initial stop. So, do you think in a convention aspect, do you think it's more important for writers then than it is artists? Because the writer has to sell their actual story. The artist just has to sell a picture, and a picture is easier to sell than a story online, in my opinion.
I think if that something is packaged well enough, it can be sold. It can be sold at either kind of venue. You could sell it online or you could sell it. I'm trying to look. I'm trying to see where I thought I had this book that I just got. No, it's not there. If something looks good, someone's going to buy it. So artists, when there's writers, even when it's like a novel or something like that, what do you look at first?
I mean, yeah, the cover. I'll agree. Like, and the fact, and when I seen Bleep Bloop Murder, and it was a robot chase on a little kid, I was amused. Check out Rebecca Lee Gardner's Quest. It was
Yep.
phenomenal. Sorry, I'm a promo.
Like,
I'm a promo whore,
I
Spencer.
yeah, I have just let's see. This was when I started getting heavy into reading Image again. I Kill Giants, right?
That's a good. That's a good. I like that one.
So
It's
now
very intriguing.
looking at this, I'm like, what is this about? It's $20. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna read it. I'm not worried about. I need to read a couple of pages. I need to see who it's by. Blah 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 blah.
See,
If it's packaged well, I want it because I
nah.
have expectation of it already being good. Now I've gotten burned by books. I've picked up books and I'm like, this is great art, and it's shit writing. So for me, I as someone that writes and does art, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's more important for a writer to be at a convention almost to meet the artist. In reality, if you put those two together, what do you get? You get a comic. You get a story.
I love. So the point of the conventions is to make sure comics continue to get made for writers and artists to meet one another. It ain't about and people now to my other point, and people to be able to meet their favorite voice actors or celebrities or blah blah blah. How much do you think that has affected the convention? Because when comic book conventions first started, man, there wasn't Hollywood. I remember when Hollywood kind of started to seep in because I went to Wizard World in Chicago several years in a row, way, way, way back. And it was right around the time that Blade was coming out. And I seen that start to seep in. You know what I mean? Because suddenly, like, there's a movie prop at this convention, but everything else, pretty much everything else is comics, McFarlane toys, this, that. That was the one thing from Hollywood that was there because, you know, it's Blade, right? Which is really cool because I still got like the disc he throws. I still legit have the little foam when they were giving them out. I don't know how that has survived my life since that happened, but I literally still have it. I don't. It was.
Is it like one of the little like 3 blades that are?
Oh no, here, man, where? Now I'm like, I don't know exactly where it is because I had it up somewhere and then I moved it somewhere. Yeah,
I vaguely know what you're talking about.
it
But
was like
yeah.
it was just like the red, man. It was like a disc and like a blade here, a blade there. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And
Now,
yeah, the thing he threw, like he threw it in the opening scene. He threw it around and cut a bunch of vampires' heads off.
yeah. Now I
Yeah,
know what you're talking
yeah. It was a foam version of that they were giving out. And like I said, that
about.
was when Hollywood was seeping in. I mean, you would get like there
I
were some
think.
other people there, like you know, a couple Star Wars actors, Dave Propose, this and that, or not Dave Propose. He's Space Coast currently writing. David, the guy that played Darth Vader. I'm terrible with names. I probably
There were people that played Darth Vader.
well, not James Earl Jones, but the
I
dude
don't
that
know.
was in the original suit. But that's fine.
The guy in
And
the original suit doesn't matter to me because it was James Earl Jones that was talking the whole
well, that's
time.
fine. And like and yeah, but there were so you've seen a little bit of that.
No,
But it started to
absolutely.
seep in way more. What effect do you think that has had on conventions as far as for the consumers? That and 3D printing.
Oh fuck.
I love the response I got from just like that whole ramble and then just 3D printing.
I think it's oversaturated. I really do. There are, and I've watched it. There are so many actors that will take on comic roles that have never read the comics. There are people that will idolize the characters because they're played by the Chris Hemsworths, they're played by the Chris Pratts, they're played by the Chris Evans, but
No, look.
they hadn't
No,
taken
I
it pro.
I have to defend all of those actors. I really do, Spencer, because look, like you ain't necessarily got to be into dinosaurs to take a Jurassic Park role. You know what
Oh
I mean?
no,
That's just
absolutely.
the job. That's just you trying to get a job, and you know it'll make you money as an actor, and that's an entertainment form, right? Now I'm really now I will say I find great joy in the fact that Ryan Reynolds is like, I'm making this Deadpool film. I love this
Yeah,
character, right?
gonna fucking
And I do think it's important for the people behind the cameras to have knowledge of the comics. The people in front of the cameras, as long as they can act, I don't care. It's just the guy that's directing them needs to be aware that, yo, man, that character wouldn't do that like like that. I'm sorry. We need to tweak this a little. I don't care about the actors.
yeah, and yeah, I I hear you on that. I think there's just that people idolize more the stars than they do what's being done. And then when you look at it, what's being done, perfect example, Jason Momoa as Aquaman. How many women do you think went to see that movie just because of the fact it was Jason Momoa? Regardless of how shitty that movie was.
Regardless of how,
because it was Jason Momoa.
how about regardless of how miscast Jason Momoa was, I'm glad they got it right this time because I've literally, like, I've been talking, and I said this on the questionnaire too, before they announced that Jason Momoa was Lobo. I was literally like ranting that they needed, he needed to be Lobo, because if you look at a picture of Lobo, he has the same.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, like it's Jason Momoa.
It
It's
looks
just,
like the eyebrows and everything.
it's like, how do you
So
screw up that casting?
Who do you think should have been cast as Aquaman?
As Aquaman?
I have someone in mind already. I just want to see if we're on the same page.
I mean, I don't know, man, because is this somebody that's played a comic book role that was terrible for them?
No, he hasn't. I don't think. No, he hasn't played a comic book. Well, there's a comic book adaptation, and I think it's by Boom that puts it out. But Charlie Hunting, the Sons of Anarchy.
The one that was littler.
The VP.
Okay. Yeah. He had the proper. He did. He had the proper look.
He just played Ed Gein. I just watched that last night. It was fucking ugh. Nope.
Yeah. No. Whatever. I'm just glad they cast him properly, and I'm really I feel like there's part of me that's like, I spoke it so long on the show. I'm like, did I speak that into existence? And then I've been saying, hey, if I did that, good. I'm glad I did it. But then I've been saying for so long that they shouldn't make Crossed into anything but the comic. Like, it should never be anything else. And I'm like, did I say that so many times that somebody was like, let's try it? Because they're trying it, and whatever. I'm worried about that. So
TV to comic adaptations are either taken in very well, or it's a great amount of scrutiny because the fan base is so huge.
And I wonder how much that really affects just people's joy of it, because
I think that with a lot of DC movies, unfortunately, they suffer with that.
I think a lot of the DC movies just weren't that good. Like, look, I love the Superman flick. I really hope James Gunn keeps it up. Superman.
You saw my hot take, right?
What?
My least favorite movie. You saw my hot take. Check it out.
Man, didn't I tell you how crazy life's been? I hadn't gotten to that point yet. All right. Why do you keep making things so complicated? Well, where's that question? I don't know. You know, there's like 4 different versions of this, right, man? You think the Mandela effect is real? Hold on. Wait, that's up top, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Why is that a hot take?
Do you know how many people love that movie?
No, I don't pay attention to other people's opinions.
So many. I will argue with people all day about Batman vs Superman. It was trash. It was so bad, and even the extended cut afterwards didn't make it any better.
I will say the Justice League extended cut, like the 4-hour. Oh my God, I never want to watch it again. But hey, that was a nice little flick. You know what I mean? I never want to
enjoy-
watch it again because it was 4 hours. Just like I'll never watch Lord of the Rings again. Somebody brings me the Lord of the Rings extended cut and goes, "We should check this out." I might smack them with my laptop, and I really like my laptop. Right? It's nice, it's new, it's fresh, it does everything I need it to do. But you tell me to sit for because if it's the Lord of the Rings, that's like 16 hours with all of them. I'll beat you with my laptop.
Damn good.
Yeah. But yeah, but no, the Batman versus Superman.
It was bad. It was bad. I think the casting was bad on Batman. I don't.
Here,
No.
I'll give you a hot take. Batman versus Superman did to Doomsday what X-Men Origins Wolverine did to Deadpool.
Fuck.
There's a hot take for you. Because you know I'm right. I mean, that's not... Like, if they would have done Doomsday... I mean, you couldn't do the death of Superman, the whole how the things just showed up and then everybody... You'd have had to switch it a little. But you didn't have to switch it nearly as much as they did. It just needed to be like, hey, here's this indestructible thing. What does it want? To fight. Why? We don't know. Right? And then you could do that. And then if you cast Jason Momoa right, you could have him show up after Superman comes back and just show up at the planet and be like, I'm the baddest. What are you talking about? I want to fight you. For no reason. Other than because he's Lobo and he's just like, I'm going to pick a fight. And yeah, you had a great moment there.
That thing with the Snyderverse that I think did a lot of damage was that there was no campiness. There was nothing. There was always moments of serious. There wasn't really any joking around or anything like that. And in comics, not everything's serious. Superman cracks jokes. Batman cracks. They're not as Batman's aren't as right in your face, but he'll say something and you're like, oh fuck.
Man, you're making my editor's job really hard, Spencer. I said we was PG when the show started. Like, but whatever. But you're to your point, the only oh god, dude, the only person that was really campy and made jokes was the Flash. And then you find out that that actor is not a joking matter and needs to go away. So that makes it even more of a problem.
Ezra Miller, yeah.
You know, like it's like literally if they would have really I just spaced that name. I want to say Tobey Maguire, and I'm like, that is wrong. That is too back.
For
Jeez.
Spider-Man, so there
Yeah.
was Andrew Garfield and
Really? Really? Did I just take it out of your brain and throw it into the sky so neither of us could have it?
yeah,
And
pretty
wait,
much.
this is terrible. I could like we should both know this, Spencer.
Who's the current what?
Spider-Man.
Current Spider-Man's Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Why? Okay. She's OP. I don't know why that name escaped me. I love his work. But imagine if he would have ended up being just like a complete POS. Spider-Man would have failed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, but you don't have how many people have actually done things in Hollywood if the internet did not exist? Half of that stuff wouldn't have been shown. Half of that stuff would have not have been in the public eye like that.
that's
Just
true,
saying.
man. But when you're doing things to that degree, you should be scrutinized. In
I don't
my
even remember what Ezra Miller did, but I feel like it was something with young kids or something like that. So
I don't even want to get into it on the show, but I mean, not young, but teenager, which is still a problem, and that's all it is. And we're not going to say anything more than that. Go Google it; it's all there. You shouldn't throw chairs in bars.
nope.
you know, but we totally went off the rails as far as talking conventions. I don't know how we ended up talking about Ezra Miller and his problems. And yeah, I know Batman versus Superman is terrible. It is. It's terrible. I don't know what. That's not like. I think more people would be mad at you about your favorite film, personally, than they would about saying that that was a bad film. Like
Yeah.
really, you saying Multiverse of Madness was your favorite film, dude? I really think that's more of a hot take than because
I
I've heard a lot of bad things about Batman and from other creators for that matter. I've talked to a lot, Spencer. You know what I mean? But and I don't think I've ever really heard anything bad about Multiverse of Madness from creators. I want to know, like the other one I have, but not so much Batman. Or I mean, not so much the multiverse, but from online, people hated that. The AI was terrible. The this, the that. The why was that your favorite film?
I really resonated with the first Doctor Strange. I was going through some really tough stuff. I had gotten plaque psoriasis on my hands, uh, and I wasn't able to do anything. I wasn't able to draw. I wasn't able to do much of anything for a while. So Doctor Strange in general kind of really resonated with me because of the fact that he overcame not being able to do what he was born to do, what he was accustomed to doing, and he found a workaround and made his life and other people's lives better. So I could say the first Doctor Strange is my favorite. The the second, um, I just think that it set up everything that happened in after the fact coming, and it's setting up everything else for Doom. It's setting up the second run of Avengers, everything like that. I don't think that a lot of people that actually read the comics understand that. And then you have the people that just watch the movies and they're like, that was shit.
I love that point because I swear it's something I have spoken to people with when, because nowadays, which is strange, like people know who Venom and Carnage are, right? And I bring those two up because you're wearing a Venom shirt. Mark Bagley was just on; he created Carnage, and I love it, right? And I would not expect people to know those characters, like Spider-Man. Okay, you don't know who the hell Venom and Carnage are. You definitely don't know who Carnage are. Maybe know the black Spider-Man, and that's what you're gonna call him. It's like, oh, it's the Spider-Man with the black costume, right? That's what it is. I know it's Venom. It's totally whatever, right? So when you're having conversations with these people, and several times I've had them be like, oh, I don't know, it's just blah 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 blah, and I instantly understand their complaints are, oh, you don't read comics, you don't understand the world building they're doing, and how they're trying to set up 10 other things in this film, and technically this film is so necessary, but it has to be this middle piece. And I wonder if people will go back and look at that later after like 3 other things have come out and go, oh, that was awesome, I didn't realize blah 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 blah, because I think that's probably happened before.
No, because all they know is this Black Spider-Man. They don't understand the rest of this. And this is the other part that they're not understanding what's coming after Doom.
And I mean, you think they would? They already teased that with Venom leaving a piece of Venom in the MCU.
But then you have Civil War. I really don't necessarily dig how they did that one. I don't dig how they did it because I understand that there was the Accord, but I also remember within Civil War there was a bunch of superhero registry and everything like that, and Peter Parker had to show his face. So him being introduced in that was part of where I was Like, I don't know about that. And it seemed like it was an internal beef through the Avengers, and it was Iron Man versus Captain America, rather than it was making a decision to register your secret identities. And kind of fighting against other people.
I mean, I see your point in that because, but they hadn't built enough of a world to really be able to do the story that would be necessary if they were really trying to adapt the Civil War comic. And that's the other thing I think a lot of people don't think about. Like, it's not realistic to think that they are going to be able to accurately like reproduce, I'd say, to even 80% what the comic was, any storyline, especially if you're talking about the bigger ones, from Secret Wars to like to Civil War, anything of that size. Because I mean, I would have loved to have seen a robot Thor smoke somebody in Civil War. Are you serious? That would have been awesome, right? That would have been phenomenal, right? Like I want to see World War Hulk so bad in film, where they send Ghost Rider after him. He has to let the thing take over, and he looks at Hulk and goes, "No, his vengeance is righteous," and just rolls away. Like, but the things they would have to put together on that level, man, I don't know how they would ever achieve it. Makes me wonder now. You think Ghost Rider, because I know they're getting ready to bring that one in, will ever interact with Mark Ruffalo? That would be phenomenal.
I just heard Mark Ruffalo got fired.
For what?
I have no idea. He said something at the Golden Globes, and there's talks about Disney fired him. I don't know. I have to fact check that. I don't know how true
I
that
don't think they could get away with recasting that role twice.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Wouldn't that be the third time? Yeah, that'd be the third time recasting.
I mean, if you count Eric Bana.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't, because that film was terrible. Yeah, that's
No, gonna have to recast Ghost Rider, and from what I heard and have seen again is that they're going the Midnight Suns route, which I would love.
Oh yeah,
I would love, because then that introduces Blade.
I know, man. There's only one Blade. Ain't you seen Deadpool and Wolverine?
I know.
All right. Like I would laugh. I would laugh if he's like, "Yeah, I'll come back and do it." I'd be like, "For real?" And then I want to see them get to the story where and then I want to see Blood Hunt. Yeah, that's the story I want to see them get to. But that would be insane. Now it's getting super nerdy over here. It really is, man. But I think that's just the thing with Marvel, because I've honestly heard the other thing is Disney really doesn't care how Marvel does. Now, mind you, Marvel is making money. Comic book sales are up, which, I mean, you can hear that from Ross himself, who's very much in the business side of comics on that Pancom. But Disney doesn't care. The only thing they really want is them to keep 10 years ahead of the MCU. You look like you have opinions on that, Spencer. I feel like I just upset you. Do we need to end the show?
I think they're ending a lot of good characters before their time because their contracts are ending. I feel like they're bringing new characters in that aren't necessarily big characters and can't sell box office tickets.
Why do you think they bought Fox?
But are we going to get another adaptation of X-Men? Are we going to get another adaptation of how many other movies? How many times do you watch the same origin story?
Look,
The reason that I liked Tom Holland's Spider-Man was because he was already Spider-Man.
I mean, in all fairness, with have you seen the Secret Wars preview or Doom War or Doom? The next,
I don't like watching previews because I feel like it ruins the movie for me.
Man, I sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I check. It was I was talking to Eli at Mages, and it was they show Cyclops just full letting it go.
Oh yeah,
You know
I
what I
think
mean?
a picture of it. I don't. I really try hard not to watch it because then I'm like, it's not going to be good, or I don't know if I want to watch it. I absolutely want to watch Doom. Like, regardless, that's one of my favorite villains.
See, and I bet you're one of the ones that has a complaint about him just being Robert Downey Jr. I'd assume.
No, because it could possibly not be Robert Downey. Because it could possibly not be Tony Stark. Possibly his brother. Because that's what it is in the story arc.
Oh,
Well, in one of the story arcs,
yeah.
Victor is Tony's brother.
Huh. I was not.
So with the
Sorry.
multiverse madness, he could potentially come back as Doom.
And I mean, yeah, that makes complete sense, and I think people need to realize how they can flex that.
Well, if you
As-
look, you heard when Tony was talking to his father, he said that his son was going to be born, and it wasn't the year that Tony was born. Was he talking about something else? Was he talking about his brother?
Oh, I didn't. Well, that's
Yeah.
intriguing. I didn't catch that he said that, and that wasn't a
You know,
That's
too, like,
see, and that's that whole thing about them setting up threads on a comic book level within films, which has never really been done. And I like if you look, the MCU is doing something in films that has never been done or even attempted by anyone other than Kevin Smith, who did it on a way smaller scale.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like Kevin Smith was the first one that had a movie universe, and then the MCU was like, hold my beer.
Pretty much.
And they've done everything they've done, and it's been insane. But you really look, man. I kind of look. I want to see the X-Men, Spencer. I want to because
I do
I mean,
too.
you know,
Huge X-Men fan.
come on, man. You don't want like a proper apocalypse,
I do.
right?
I don't want Ivan Goo to be Apocalypse.
Yeah, yeah. I want an apocalypse that's like it's the survival of the fittest, and when you say no, he kills you.
Yeah, he's like 10 feet tall and he's a god.
And I really I don't know that they'll ever get to this because I feel like it would be really, really, really hard, but I want the Age of Apocalypse. I know
Really,
there was
Apocalypse
that
and
little glimpse, and there was a glimpse, man. They showed it in Deadpool and Wolverine. They showed Weapon X,
yeah,
right? From the Age of Apocalypse. Just that little moment. Right? So there's this part of me that's like, maybe they could do it because, oh my God, I can't believe all the crap they showed in that movie as far as all the different variants and movies that were straight from the comics, like ripped from a page. Yeah.
exactly. And that's the part where it's like it can be done correctly if you actually give a shit about the comic. And that is the thing where I respect Ryan Reynolds, where he waited and took his time to drop Deadpool, 2 and for Wolverine and Deadpool.
The only thing he didn't wait to
Really?
drop was that little reel that he'd made on his own on a budget and throw it out into the internet and be like, I don't know who did that, and walked away.
But I mean, he actually cared about the character. And on a greater scale, the character and the comic, because it breaks the fourth wall, it's Ryan Reynolds. It looks like Ryan Reynolds. If you read a Deadpool comic right now, I guarantee you're going to read it in Ryan Reynolds' voice.
No, but only because I was reading Deadpool comics long before Ryan Reynolds was ever Deadpool.
Fair, but
You know,
and
but
as
for someone that, if somebody picked up a Deadpool comic book now and they didn't hear that voice, I'd be really, really surprised. But
Yeah.
again, I've been reading Deadpool when Deadpool was the obscure, everybody kind of hated him. Yeah, like people used to hate that character, and now you can go get a shirt with his symbol at Walmart. I'm like, it's freaking weird.
Well, it's the fact that people used to hate that character and they forget that he was a parody.
Oh, Deathstroke, you mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's a whole argument you can go back and forth about. But DC and Marvel did that crap to one another all the time.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. There was some, because I'm in the more like the Marvel collecting cards community as well, and I've looked at some cards and I'm like, wait, there's two. Why is there two different characters? They're named the same, but they're in DC and Marvel.
Such as?
I'm trying to remember it now. I think it was
I still think it's funny Marvel, Captain Marvel is a DC character. That amuses the crap out of me all the time.
trying to remember now. It was one recently that I looked at it and I was like, what the hell? I thought this was DC, but it was Marvel. I think a lot of it has to do with like the Greek mythology and stuff like that they'll bring in.
Oh, well, I mean, in that aspect, I think they both do have like the Greek gods at least.
I think they both have Hercules. I think.
I know that's a Marvel character. I'm pretty sure it's a DC one too.
I'm almost positive. I've seen so many different.
That's funny. You know, if you think about it, DC could just have a Thor out of nowhere, and there's nothing Marvel could do to stop them as long as they use the mythology and not the
As
Marvel
long
character.
as long as they drew him completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be that hard.
I could have a Thor today.
Yeah. That
I could write a whole Thor comic. It just doesn't have to look.
and you could even put Loki in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's funny. I wonder if Disney ever worries about that. Like, man, we don't own that, and we can never own that.
No. And the story would be even cooler because their sister it's a Hera, right?
Yeah, but I don't think that's true in actual Norse mythology.
It's not actually true. It's actually Loki's wife.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because
Wolf is his son.
I haven't read Norse mythology since I was like 20. Don't make me like think back that hard because like I'm pretty sure even Thor had a hammer if memory serves correct.
Thor had a hammer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's funny how much you could technically rip off that comic, but you're not. You're just drawing from mythology that's existed forever.
A lot of what Stanley did with that comic and pulled from the Norse mythology was Mjolnir is Thor's hammer. Indefinitely in in Norse mythology. I said Greek. In Norse mythology, and Loki being the trickster, that's known throughout, even before the movies came out. It's mentioned in The Mask with Jim Carrey. That's the green mask, is the Loki mask. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh no, I've read. Look, man, I love that movie. I watched it as a kid, and I was reading comics at the time, and then my mom let me get the comic book. That's one of those that was definitely a very loose adaptation of the comic because, like, I kind of continued to read it, and in that series. Yeah, look, if you ever find a green wooden mask, I just don't suggest you put it on. All right.
Yeah.
Like, even if it seems really tempting, like, it's just no.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, and I love that, man. Yeah. So it's interesting to think about all that. But we've totally so to flip back to the conversation that we were having, like, I don't know, like 30 minutes ago or so, right?
Yeah.
If you could remove all the celebrities and that whole aspect and take it back to, like, say how it was in the 90s, and they're not announcing the next movie at San Diego Comic-Con. It's more they're worried about the all the next year in comics, and that's what they're more focused on, as opposed to, oh, Avengers 16 is coming out. It'll get there. Just wait, y'all.
I feel like if they were to split it up, if they were at least to split it up, the comic industry could survive.
You think that's gonna kill the comic industry?
I think that there are going to be diehard comic fans, and there are going to be diehard movie buffs that go like this. And then there's going to be the ones like myself where I'm in the middle of it and I see the actor and I really don't care who's playing it, but I care at the same time. But I just want it to be as good as the comic.
No adaptation is ever better than the original.
Never.
It's I don't know if I can think of some that were on par. Like, I would say The Boys has been pretty, like, I love what?
It's on point.
Yeah, that's what
Super.
I'm saying. Like, I love The Boys comic. I love Garth Ennis's work. I say, like Preacher wasn't on par. The book is superior. Now, in all fairness to everyone that was involved with making that show, you did a phenomenal job. They weren't going to give you the budget to make the comic.
Absolutely not.
That's just realistic. You're not getting the budget to make the comic, so you're not going to be able to make it as good just because of budget limitations. But in the case of The Boys, oh my god, dude!
And that being a Vertigo comic, it wasn't going to happen.
It should have. I don't know though, man. If they would have really done Preacher full on out like they have The Boys, I feel like a lot of people would have ended up getting death threats.
I think that if you're not going to do a good live comic adaptation, do what DC does. Make an animated movie. I enjoy the hell out of the animated movies. They did Hush phenomenally.
Dude, the Dark Justice League stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
good. Everything like that. It's been phenomenal. Their cinematic work, trash. I don't want to watch it. I'd rather watch 20 animated movies by DC than watch one more failed under.
No, wait. We got to go because I brought it up and then you went to your hot take, but you didn't give me your opinion. What was your hot take on Superman?
I haven't watched the new Superman yet. I haven't.
Have you watched Peacemaker?
I have. I have watched portions of Peacemaker. I definitely like that a lot. And that's by James Gunn as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. James Gunn does a really good job. James Gunn did a really good job with Guardians of the Galaxy.
He did a good job with Superman, dude. He really did. He did a really.
See, the thing is that I'm so.
Are you gonna tell me you're burnt out on Superman films?
It's not burnt out. It's that you can only do it so many times before you're already disappointed before you watch something.
Can we call that Star Wars fan syndrome?
Yeah. Yeah.
If I offended anybody with that, my apologies. But like, nobody out there can tell me it's not like.
Speaking of which, isn't Darth Maul coming out soon?
I just seen something about, like, is it what I could, like, right before I came on, I accidentally swiped to where I was looking at it, and I was like, what is this Darth Maul thing? I love Darth Maul. That's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, me too.
Like, and
It's phenomenal. Is a phenomenal stuntman, phenomenal swordsman as well.
like Ray Park. Yeah, Ray Park is, like, not only that, but back in the days of going to Wizard World, man, I got a chance to meet him. And if he just don't seem like the friendliest guy that could whoop your ass.
right, with a smile.
Yeah, like, smiling while he's, like, knocking out 6 people trying to jump him with a broom that he found. Like, crap, man. But yeah, is he playing Mole?
I hope so. I don't know. But because I've been so disappointed with the last couple of movies that they've dropped, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it was one of those things where George Lucas was like, I'm never gonna sell Star Wars. I'm never gonna sell Star Wars. I'm never gonna sell Star Wars, and then he sold Star Wars. And then it hasn't been the same since.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, can you blame him?
I mean, I get it. He's getting old, and it's a lot of money.
Well, and not even that. Like, it takes the fandom away from him. The people that are getting like, rah, 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 why don't you do more? Why don't you do this? Why don't you blah, 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 blah. He doesn't have to deal with that anymore. It is suddenly like, go talk to Disney. I sold it. I'm good. I'm over here. If you want to go watch my work, there's the original stuff I did, and all that. And like, I mean, sincerely, because as the creator, at a certain point, you have to realize that
One of the most hilarious things that I think that I heard about that George Lucas kind of flexed with was that a lot of people would complain that there wasn't a lot of black people in Star Wars, and that he was a racist. You do know that George Lucas is married to a black woman, right?
No.
Yep.
I don't care enough to keep track of celebrities.
The main villain is James Earl Jones, and Darth Vader. I mean, it's
yeah, and you know what you got to say about that? Like for real, it's James Earl Jones, like, but he's not in Conan shape anymore. He couldn't fit in the suit. All right. God, I'm just saying. I mean, all respect to James Earl Jones, may he rest in peace. But I mean, because what a
I was gonna say he's not fitting in any suit now.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is, man. Just one last one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's getting dark over here, right? We're not trying to take it to the dark side. Bring in Darth Maul, and then you got to talk about people burying. Wrong with you, Spencer. Stop taking this quest to dark places. Might have been me, but that's neither here nor there. I don't want to talk about it no more, right? But I mean, he is someone that like truly left an impact, and I think that's the other thing with the certain things, whether it's Marvel, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's this or that. They were started with, Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford, James Earl Jones, or Chris Hemsworth and Evans and all of this. And when you start to lose those original people, I think there's people that's going to complain regardless of how good the quality of it is. It doesn't even matter if it's a great story or not. Not that I'm saying these stories are great or that they're not great. I'm not giving my opinion on that. I'm just stating that when you get to the point where you lose that and you're putting other things in this universe, there's going to be people that are going to be annoyed, because unlike in comics, like, look, Captain America's Captain America. You shoot Captain America today in the comic book, bring him back tomorrow, it don't matter. That's something they can do. If things like that happen in film, which unfortunately it did with a phenomenal actor in the MCU, you have to deal with it. If somebody gets injured, you have to deal with it in a real life circumstance.
Yeah.
And I think people don't think about that so much. And they focus too much, like you were saying earlier, on the person that's playing the part. And they're not truly focused on the story. I think a lot of people lose that. Or they're, bitching about the fact that those special effects weren't perfect. Well, I mean, you're asking for what you're asking for. And I seen a whole thing about special effects departments, how they're pushed, and that's a whole different discussion as far as like, yeah, you're killing special effects companies, and it's the amount of special effects shots that used to be and are, and that's why the older stuff looked better. Like, because I seen somebody saying like this shot from like the 2000s looks better than current. It's because they had the time to do it.
The older stuff, and again, for instance, Star Wars, a lot of the back scenery was painted. It wasn't CGI. A lot of when they were inside of the Death Star, a lot of those stormtroopers were painted. That's all meticulously put together. It wasn't 1,000 people in stormtrooper costumes. Could you imagine the budget? Could you imagine how much that budget would have been?
He probably could have done it for the third one if he really wanted to.
Probably could have for the third one, but the first, nah,
Oh,
no way, no way. That's not happening. No,
yeah.
no. He had painters. He had a lot of behind the scenes things, and I think that now we're so spoiled with CGI that we expect the absolute greatest to come out of a movie, and if it looks even a little bit off, you have the bulk of people bitching about it.
That's what I think. My favorite one was I love Deadpool. Like I said, I've loved the character for a long time. So when Deadpool Wolverine came out, I was like, ooh, go to see it. I must get to a theater for this. Like, and I wanted to get to it soon, especially based on the fact that I run this show, and I didn't want any spoilers. I wanted to be able to go and see this film and just enjoy it in its entirety. And then I'm talking to a couple people about it, and the complaints I'm hearing are it was too much fan service and the CGI wasn't perfect. I was like, okay. So there were a couple little things you noticed that, oh my God, and I didn't personally because I was enjoying the story. I'm not going to notice a 2 centimeter glitch over here in the corner because I don't care that much. I'm paying more attention to the story in all honesty, and it's moving. And I don't know how you're catching that. The hell are you doing watching it frame by frame? And then you're complaining about, oh, they gave you what you were asking for.
No,
That's your problem. You ask for all this stuff and they gave it to you. And they say be careful what you wish for. Apparently people bitching online about films need to do this a lot, but they should have bitched about Sonic for real because that was terrible. I'm right, that Sonic was terrible. I don't know, man. It's really, really weird complaints to the fandom. What's the weirdest fan interaction you've ever had? Like as an artist, you ever had any weird requests? You're up there in Canada. You ever run into the Hawaiian shirt guy?
man,
Wait, did that name hit a note?
no. It's just I've gotten really X-rated requests from couples. Things that coming out of looking at someone and judging a book by a cover is never a good idea. Someone walking up to me and being like, hey, do you do X-rated artwork? And honestly, money talks. Sure. Yeah, I do. For this amount of money. Okay, great. I'll do it. And then you still look at this person as I'm drawing this for somebody that I know is a mother or a father and the request is so vulgar that you question if you're morally doing the right thing.
All right, all right. We may have to beat this next answer. So, Larry, I want you to keep that in mind, and I'll make sure I note that to you. What's the worst request you've ever gotten?
Oh, Gambit jerking off to a picture of Rogue.
Okay, beat certain parts of that so we don't have like an issue, Blair. Um,
Yep. Yep.
that's the worst though, man. Honestly,
Great
felt like
face.
you, huh?
Straight face. Straight faced. Like,
All right.
I mean, the worst, because I was in the tattoo industry for a while as well. I've gotten some really bad ones.
I've heard some requests on from some people making them. We're just gonna stop this conversation here because I don't want to like Hawaiian shirt guy, and that's all I say. Um, uh, yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe, Spencer.
I
That's
feel like
I've
safest.
I've asked that a lot of times, man. No one's picked Gotham yet.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no one's been like, I'll go to Gotham, which I'm like, that's probably a smart idea. Like Gotham's probably a really bad choice.
I don't want to live in Metropolis. I
I've
don't
had
want
like
to.
I don't want to live in Metropolis. What the hell's wrong with you? Suddenly an asteroid comes through and you don't even know what happened. You just cease to exist. Superman ain't always there, man. There are casualties. Like Metropolis deals with the catastrophic crap. Gotham, you just got to deal with an alligator maybe biting your face off or some dude in face paint doing God knows what. I'm not cool with either of those, you know?
But what about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe? I mean, you're not really dealing with much.
I mean,
They're trying to.
you ain't gonna have to like deal with Krang, I don't think. Like,
Nah, they're
you know,
good
like, yeah,
messing with other.
yeah.
Even
Shredder's over in their corner. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you would,
I picked a safe one. If I wanted to
you,
like see
you
Ninja
didn't,
Turtle,
you didn't pick
okay.
the safest. You didn't pick the safest. You know,
Look,
Archie, man, Archie's the safest. Or like Garfield. Like I said, I've had
even Archie
several different
has
choices. Huh?
even Archie has murder.
Oh, that's true. You know what? I'm gonna be adding this question to future questionnaires. All right. So you're gonna see it over on the website, man. You might see it pop up here not too long. It might be a little while. You know, we got some out, we got this, man. I need to find the time to modify and switch things around. Um, if you could pick a pet from a comic, you know what I mean? Oh, crap. All right. If you could pick a pet from a comic, like something that was, and I mean, you can think of anything, man, from Marvel, DC, something crazy book, like if you want to go an image book or anything, right? What pet would you want to have? You can pick crypto. You know what I mean? I'm not limited. I want to know.
I I want to say Jeff the Land Shark, but I feel like that would be a lot of people's answer.
I feel like you just have a big, a very small, really big problem if you picked him, to be real honest. Because I love Jeff. I love Jeff, right? Kelly Thompson just wrote the run that me and my boy just read, where he's all chasing his shadow around. And it was lovely, you know? But I do not like that. That's a phenomenal pet if you have a healing factor.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that crypto would be any better.
I mean, I see. I can't even make the reference because you haven't seen the Superman film, but Crypto, bad dog, because and he didn't listen. Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
Maybe I don't know. There's a Batman has a dog. I can't remember his name right now.
I don't know. Even though I've watched Super Pets with my boy, I don't remember the name of the Batman
I
dog.
forget it. I forget it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to say, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna have to say screw it and Jeff the Landshark. Like, why not? If I'm gonna pick someone, if I'm gonna pick a pet from comic universe, I guess so, yeah. Or Eagle from Peacemaker.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Me, I'll take Lion Cat.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll take Lion Cat from Saga, because that's a great. I would love to have that cat so much, man. I'm curious to see other answers. You gave a little deep thought to that. Like you didn't think of none of the cat. You don't read a lot of animal comics from Marvel and DC, do you?
Not particularly, no.
But that's fair. I got a 6-year-old. You know what I mean. So I'm just trying to get him in. It's working. Like so. I read the Jeff the
Well,
Land Shark and
well,
is it Cole. Yeah, the cat Cole. That's Ghost Rider's cat. It's Robbie Rise's cat.
how old is your son?
6.
So I'll plug this right here. This is another Canadian artist and writer. This is Rob Justice.
Oh, nice,
Super good.
nice. I thought for a
Super.
second you was gonna bring up something from Locke, and if you did that, I was gonna have to go grab something from Locke.
Yeah, no, this is from Rob Justice. I sat down and I sat down and had coffee with him, and we went through my comic book that I'm currently writing. Um, and he gave me a lot of pointers, which I don't think would have happened in the 80s and 90s. I don't feel like that would have happened.
I don't know. In all sincerity, man, I think it's important for us as people to realize that we should always advise one another. Um, because if we don't do that, then only those willing to do it will ever rise. And then I'm gonna stop being political. So, with your comic book in mind, man, you've been doing art for a while. You were doing hip hop for a while. Um, when you went back to the art, was it you just made a decision to go to art, or was it you also knew you wanted to continue to write based on the fact that you've been writing lyrics?
I think with the comic that I'm writing right now, it was more or less preserving my ancestral background more than it was writing something. I felt like I needed to have something that still would make sense and still would make an impact to my children, my children's children, uh, years down the road. So what I'm working on is a comic called The Faces We Love.
Say
And
that.
it
Say that one more time.
The Faces We Love. And it is a horror thriller that is in Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican. Um, and it's a story that my grandmother told me many years ago and would tell us as children because it was the boogeyman in Puerto Rico. It was the boogeyman, in Hispanic culture was Buco. So now this is a shape-shifting entity that takes on faces that you see in every day. She can shapeshift into your father, your mother, your grandmother, um, and greatly impact yourself, the community, and everything like that. So I decided maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that I wanted to write this book, this comic. And it's gotten to the point where I had that conversation with Rob Justice. We sat down. He's worked with DC. How do I do this? How do I do this as an artist and being a writer as well? Me and my brother have had conversations because my brother's an author. And we've considered collaborating because of the fact that an artist gets overloaded at times. Writing a story is its own process in itself and everything like that. But the other thing is that, again, that very close-knit family feeling that I want to have with this story, even though it's incredibly horrific, it's not your everyday comic that you read. I want to be able to have someone pick this up and be like, I've heard about this before.
I mean, I get that, man. No, that's wild. So is that your first? No, you said you've done one of the book before, right?
No, this is the
Oh, okay.
first comic that I've done. So I've, again, and I'll keep referencing it, I've talked to people and they've told me I've asked, what do I need to do in order to break into comics? Do something independent. Because if you do something independent, it shows that you have the seriousness and you're dedicated and motivated to do something on your own. So when someone wants to hire you, they see that you have that worth and you have that self-drive. Otherwise, why are we going to pay you what we're going to pay you if you haven't proven yourself yet? Which is completely understandable. Someone Spider, if someone's putting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in your hands, it's definitely a definitely a step that you have to take.
And I can say from so many people that we've spoken to, as far as, and asked them specifically, what kind of advice would you give to somebody trying to break into comics? The most common piece of advice is just go make a comic. 1 page, 3 page, 8 page, go just make a story and put it out there. That is the most common piece of advice that we have gotten on the show. And I don't know how many times I've heard it at this point, from everyone from independent creators to publishers to people that are established veterans. It's always the same thing, because it is. You have to have that work and that proof of concept. Like, you're never going to be able to go, like you said, somebody hands you any major IP without you having a history of being able to back it up. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So I think that's great advice. What made you finally decide to bite the bullet and do it? Because especially if you're doing it as the artist and the writer, that's the thing, man. There's not a lot of comics
I
that
think it
do that.
I think it was this here again. I had a chance to do a TMNT variant. The price, a lot, because you don't necessarily have to do it with a comic shop. You can do it yourself. But 1,500 books at $5 a piece. It's a little expensive. So why not have a front to back of something that you worked on and is yours completely, and take pride in it, as opposed to doing something because it could possibly fan service some of your clients, some of your fans.
Is there?
I
Oh, go ahead.
I had someone that was going to go in with me, and we were going to go half on it. It was like still $4,000, $4 or $5,000 for 1,500 comics. I can't think right now, currently, with my situation as an artist, I could sell those comics, but there's a problem with comics right now that you may or may not agree with, is that 1,500 of the same comic book isn't going to sell anymore because DC and Marvel have decided to do the blind bag thing.
That and this is a conversation that I've had again with a number of people. The amount of variant covers, and now that they've added the blind bag too, I mean, you're technically increasing that amount of variant covers. What kind of effect do you think that's had overall? Because clearly, I would say like that amount of variant covers, you can't tell me that's for anybody but the collector. It's not for the reader.
I think that they may have actually, and DC specifically, I think that they have brought back or brought more people into the collecting aspect of things. I think it's a good marketing scheme. I don't think that it's good for a long run. I don't think it's good for every single issue. I don't know that they do it every single issue, but I know that I got it with Batman.
Oh, they'll always do it with Batman. That's yeah.
Done it with like the first one. I have one from Art Germ, and then I have another one. I forget who did it, but I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I think that it's one of those things where it's going to tell with time. It hasn't been long. It hasn't been long enough to be like, is this going to kill comics, or is this going to make it so that you have more collectors and people buying?
And it's to go to what Ross Ritchie said in the previous pen call we had. It's the companies are looking for the depth of wallet, and when you're the editor in chief of either Marvel or DC, you have to look at it and you've got to meet your bottom line and all of that. And and I love the way he explained it. Ross explains this in way more detail for anybody that wants to go check this out. It's at the fairly beginning of the episode, and there's the whole counterpoints, and this is a great conversation. But the point Richie makes is that you, as the editor in chief, you got to make sure you keep your job, right? Which means you got to make sure sales are up. And I need to get sales up this month. Well, why not another Batman book? We ain't broke it. It always sells. Put out another Batman. Or in the case of Marvel, and I don't think Ross said this, but I think within the case of Marvel, it would be like Spider-Man or Wolverine or Deadpool. I mean, I think that the X-Men character varies for who it is, in all honesty, depending on what's going on in the moment.
Right now, Rogue has her own series now.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can put out 2 Deadpool Wolverine books at the same time right now. You know, well, they were doing.
They're doing with the Batman Deadpool.
Oh yeah,
Marvel, DC. So they've dropped Deadpool, Batman, and then Batman Deadpool.
And those were phenomenal. I will point out, I highly enjoyed them. Right, I can't lie. I'm kind of waiting for the. I think the Spider-Man, Superman, or Spider-Man, Superman is next.
Yeah, I think the only one that I didn't really dig was the Wonder Woman story.
Wonder Woman and Cap.
Yeah, I didn't.
Where it was like alternate universe, like they'd existed together the entire
Yeah,
time, and
shit like that.
it was interesting. Yeah, I
It was
mean,
cool. It was cool. He reminded me of the guy that she was with, and his name was Steve too, I think.
I think you might be right. I don't know. I'll tell you
It
something.
was the guys from the Black Falcons, though.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, to cut to a totally different note, man. I think it's hilarious. I said your favorite anime or cartoon, and literally, you list the thing my son falls asleep to every night. That being SpongeBob, and then the thing I fell asleep to the past couple nights. That being Invincible, and I think it's hilarious. You think the Mandela effect is real, though?
There's so many things that I remember there being that just don't exist, and it's, I don't know, the cornucopia, the movie with Sinbad as the genie. I know Shaq did one, but I swear Sinbad had one. I don't know.
I wonder, did he ever play a genie on TV for like an episode or something though?
He might have.
I need to check that one on that because I find a lot of Mandela effects are just things misremembered. But then there's this other part of me. Have you ever read The Department of Truth?
No.
You never have? Phenomenal book, right? But the concept of it is the Department of Truth can exist to make sure that outlandish ideas don't take hold and then take over the world because the world exists because of people collectively agreeing on what the world is. So suddenly, like, enough people were like, oh, hey, the world is flat. Well, then guess what? That means the world is flat because everybody agrees on it, right? Right? If suddenly everybody thinks, hey, aliens took over the planet, well, as long as there's enough people, then suddenly aliens took over the planet. So that's what happens. So what if the Mandela effect is just a very small ripple effect, and that's what it really is? Let me really just put your brain on a conspiracy theory note, because this has been a lovely quest, man. I love it. For everybody out there, I'm telling you right now, you can check out Spencer's art. There's links right down in the descriptions to go find it. He's got so much wonderful art, man. He's got stuff coming from Upper Deck. He's got comic book coming, and that's like, I love when I hear a story that has a background and it's just all from different cultures, because I feel like certain cultures have been slammed down certain people's just necks. But I ain't getting into all that. I'm not trying to get that political. I was trying to wrap the show, and then I tried to, like, we've went to dark sides enough on this particular quest, Spencer. And I'm sure, like, if I could cut reels that would probably, like, I could probably cut 5 different reels that would have been 5 different fan bases.
Absolutely.
Do you watch wrestling? You want to offend somebody? I had somebody recently, like, just say John Moxley sucked, right? You got any hot takes on wrestlers? We'll just throw that one in there, too.
Do I have any hot takes on wrestlers? I don't watch wrestling anymore. I don't believe in imaginary shit. On that note,
look, if you've enjoyed this quest, right? Because that was the biggest BS statement I've ever heard in my life. So look, if you've enjoyed this quest, right? What I want you to do, check it out, is realize I did not have, right? What I want you to do real quick is check out this, this quick ad from our sponsor, Studio Comics, right? And you can get some discount off comics right there.
We need to restart this whole commercial because people could probably hear Pokemon in the background.
Please check out this amazing promotion that we have prepared with the questionnaire.
I'm the unknown factor. This right here is the obscure fragment.
Are watching this show?
Yeah, I'll do editing
with the questionnaire.
So we've edited this awesome commercial together, y'all.
90% off.
We are not giving 90% off.
No, I mean
How about 20?
The only thing that you have to do is enter that code that you have right there.
9,
No, 20.
10.
How about 20?
I'm printing your comics today with Studio Comics Press.
Just use this code right here, right here, right here. Look, I put it somewhere. All right, it's probably actually right here, right here, right. It's right under your chin. It says Quest 24.
That code you gotta enter in our website, and then you will get a whipping discount of 20% in any of the items or products that we have on the website.
9.
20.
9.
20%.
9.
All right.
9.
He wants to give you 9% off. I, as well as Alfonso over there on Studio Comics, want to give you 20% off.
You can get it right there with this amazing code. Just enter it right here. Yeah, just right there. There.
Use that code over at Studio Comics to get 20% off.
Thank you very much. This is a special one for all our friends of the questionnaire.
Type in Quest 24 when you check out, man. You can figure out the percentage you'll get right then because it'll show in your order.
Yeah,
right?
9% off.
It's 20%.
The Questionnaire, the best current comic book podcast existing around.
So happy to have Studio Comics as our very, very first sponsor. Say Studio Comics!
Studio Comics!
Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and do all the stuff that you have to do.
I'm the Unknown Factor with the Questionnaire. Make sure you check it out.
Yeah, we're back, right? So check that out right there. You can click the ad or click the link, the ad. I just ran the ad. The links, as well as a bunch of links to Spencer's stuff, right, is right below. Now, to go like what I was going into, but I needed a moment, right? I needed a commercial break, right? Right? But this has been a phenomenal quest. I hope you all have enjoyed it. For everyone out there that has enjoyed this quest, right, what I want you to do is I want you to send a Griffin, right, straight over there, right? What I want to have is that full set of original Street Shark toys. I love it. I love that you went with the Street Sharks, man. That is L1 day full. I can't even, no, dude, yes, right? Bunch of pizza. Some homemade, some from chain joints, some from, mom and pop restaurants. Bunch of pizza.
I discriminate with pizza, man.
Right. Man, you never should, right?
No.
You shouldn't discriminate, period, man. Jeez, you really gonna try and bring that up now? Hadn't this gone dark enough? God. And a bunch of Kit Kats. Because, just like I did just a second ago, sometimes everybody needs a break. That worked perfect, right? But if you didn't enjoy this quest, and for some reason, man, you just annoyed, right? Just bloody annoyed to all senses, right? What I want you to do. It just seems mean, man. I love it. I kind of love it when it seems mean, though. Right? Because whatever. So, the Mothman. That's funny. He's one of the first things in the Department of Truth. There's a whole thing about the Mothman. That's incorporated in that book, right? But it's in the Mothman, right? Right? And since he didn't give me anything to go off of, I'm just gonna make it worse based on what I've learned during the show. Right? Well, really, firstly, if y'all are watching, though, I don't know why you're watching. Don't hate watch, like we've said several times. But send a Mothman. If you hate watch this whole time and you're just annoyed, right? Then what you do is you make sure it's covered in the smell of the place the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live. Right? Comes up and just starts requesting the most personal, graphic commissions that are known to man or to Mothman. Right?
Whoa.
Right. Now, besides that, like I said, man, I only got 3 things I want y'all to do, right? One, I mean, you can click a button. You ain't got to click a button. I hope you've enjoyed it. Maybe click a button, maybe don't. But the 2 really important things is always get your comic on. Have a good night,
so
y'all.
much for hopping on board and listening to the questionnaire.
Keep a listening out to these crazy guys.
The Questionnaire.
I missed something.
Like and subscribe.
You're drunk. Go home.
Thanks for checking out the questionnaire.
Don't have a good day. Have a great day.